Hello everyone and welcome, it's Shanna. Now this is my second on the farm video. I'm going to be working with the three sets that I didn't get a chance to work with. I'm going to be working with the hay there, which is the cow. I'm going to do the counting sheep, which is the sheep, and then we're going to work with the spring chicken, which are the chickens. So these are the three that we're going to be working with today, and I've got all of my die cut pieces there and assembled. And I've got the little coordinating stamp sets with it. And you can see I'm bringing in those perfect touch arches. And I'm also got this stencil that I'm going to be using. And this is a cow pattern stencil. And I'm going to start right off. I've already got my die cutting cut and assembled and everything. So I'm going to start with my background layers. And I've sped this up quite a bit. So I'm just using my Distress Oxide Black Soot, and I'm laying it down on a hammer mill 110-pound cardstock. And I'm just getting a real good blend on here, and I'm going to create a background panel for our cow card. Isn't this pretty? I think it turned out really nice. Now here I've got a half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And I'm just going to do some ink blending. And I've got some blues and some greens. And I'm basically creating two scenes with this panel. And they're going to be very different scenes. One's going to be a little bit lighter, and the other one's going to be a little bit darker. One is going to be a daytime scene, and one is going to be a nighttime scene. So you'll notice as I get to putting my ink down that they'll start to look very different. I'll use some lighter colored grass for the daytime scene, and then some darker colored grass for the nighttime scene. And it's going to take, a couple of layers of blending to get it where I want it. Now I'm going to bring in a different blue, and I'm going to darken this other side up. That's going to be my nighttime scene. I'm going to just darken it up a little bit and just add another layer. And we'll just keep going with that. I think I might even use some of this on the other side as well when I decide to blend. Or actually, I think I bring in speckled egg and go over it. But I'm just going to keep getting all my blending. And I think here I bring in, I think I had just the Mariner, and now I'm bringing in the Prize Ribbon, and I'm just really trying to darken it up. I think I'll even bring in some black soot on this to kind of really bring in the nighttime scene. Now here I've got a stencil, and I'm going to create a grassy scene, and I must have cut some of that out. But anyway, I laid that stencil down and I created a grassy scene, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And kind of that area in the middle where the white is, that's where the separation of the two scenes are. And you can see I brought in the moss Distress Oxide color, and I'm putting some darker green down. Then I decided to switch and go to pine needles and just kind of make it even darker over that moss color. So we've got a real dark grass on one side and then kind of a lighter grass on the other. And this is where I think I bring in the speckled egg and I go to my lighter scene, and I just think that it helps to kind of blend the colors in. It's a sky, so it doesn't have to be perfectly blended because you're going to have different colors. And this is where I brought in the black soot to make it look even more like a night scene. I think that piece of, or that area of white there, between the two almost looks like the sun is peeking through the clouds and shining on it. But I'm going to take this arch die and I'm going to die cut out one for one and one for the other. I'm going to bring in the smaller one for the daytime scene, use the larger one for the nighttime scene, and then I took the other one, the smaller one, and I die cut out a black panel. Now I have all of my arches for all three cards, and I'm ready to start looking at my cards. So this black arch I'm going to lay on the cow print, and I've got the other ones laid out. So I've got all my pieces here. And hang with me because these cards really turn out very cute. It is a longer video. It's going to be about almost 25 minutes, but it's really cute. I'm going to bring in the, this is the mantle die set from Spellbinders. And I've got the little house, and I'm going to bring that in for my chickens. And so I'm just going to assemble it. I will link all of the materials in the description box below so you can check it out. But I thought it would be fun to have the chickens in the forefront and the house in the back. And so the house would appear smaller off in the distance, and then the chickens are more toward the front of the card. And I thought it'd be fun to bring that house in there. And you can see I've got some clouds laying there. I've kind of got everything laid out how I want to assemble it, and I just have it kind of tossed on there. And we'll work on getting it all glued down and our card ready to go. And I thought the red would just help really pop in that background panel. And since I have a red panel for my card base, I thought it would look nice to bring the red back in. So I'm just putting my black doors on there. I was just keeping my house colors very simple and just trying to keep the colors kind of similar with all three, with the black and the red. And so here's my little house. And I've got 3 little trees, and one of them I die cut these out of what was remaining out of that blended panel. And I didn't have enough green to get all 3 trees, but I could get 2.5, and I thought, well, I could layer the one that didn't fully die cut out behind the other one, and then it would appear like I have 3 trees. Now this is where I cut my house out of this panel, and I'm going to use this for my base, but I'm going to emboss it. And so I'm going to grab one of my embossing folders. I think I use hand-drawn lines is the one that I use for this. And I'll try to link that in the description box below as well. And yes, this is the hand-drawn lines embossing folder. That's what I'm using here. So we'll just get this glued down on there, and then we'll just start building our scene. So I did have Monday off, and I was able to spend a good time in the craft room. Had a really fun live with Daria this morning. We got 5 more of our KCC 17 February cards done, and that was fun. And we had a good crowd, and we had a nice little chat with everyone, and it was a lot of fun. And I stayed home all day. I did prepare dinner for my parents, as my mom's been sick, and she's not been feeling up to cook, so I actually made 2 meatloaves and roasted potatoes. I made a full meatloaf for their house so they would have extras to eat, and then I made a full meatloaf for our house so we would have some. And it was delicious. And so now I'm just getting this voiceover done. So I've got my house and I've got my trees, and we've got a lot of area covered there, but I think it'll work. And I'm just going to lay down the smaller portion of my house, and then I'm going to pop up the larger portion of my house just to kind of give it some dimension and make it look like the bigger part kind of juts out like, many homes do. And we'll just get this laid down on there. And then we'll get our trees on there. I really had fun playing with this set. And when I got done with this, I made a Valentine card, which I posted on my community page, and I had a blast with it. I didn't record it. I just had fun just playing with all the little bits and pieces and just kind of taking my time and figuring out what I wanted to put where, and it really turned out cute. I was really happy with it. I have used that set before on a live, but I drug it out again and made another card with it, and it was really, really fun. So I had a fun day of crafting. Now tomorrow it's back at it. The boys will be back, and I'll be running them to school and back and forth and all the craziness with them. But I was glad to have at least a couple days. I had Saturday, and on Sunday I had the 3-year-old for a little bit, but then today I didn't have any kids at all, so it was nice to just kind of be able to do my own thing and rest a little bit and do some things around the house. So I'm going to get my clouds laid in here and just tuck those in. I think I brought these clouds in from the Over the Rainbow. I don't know what that die is called, but you could use any cloud dies you have. And I'm just going to get those laid down in there. And then I decided to do 2 chicks, like a male chick. I wanted to have kind of a couple different colors of chicks, so chickens. So I decided to do different ones. So I've kind of got like this is like I don't even know if there's a difference, but it's kind of like maybe it's like my rooster, and this is like the mama chick or what, I don't know. And then I've got some little bitty chickadees there, and then I'm going to have mama setting on a nest of eggs that comes with it. I've got her legs on there, and I probably didn't need to have her legs because they could be tucked up in as she's sitting on the nest, but I'm just going to position her and then position the nest over her legs and get her laid down on there. And you can see I've done some ink blending on that. I started out with a yellow and then added some orange. And then with the other one, I started out with a red and added some brown just to add some different colors to the chickens. And I'm just going to lay that little nest of eggs right there, like she's sitting on it. She's got a little apron and a little bonnet on her head. She's so cute. Now we're going to move on to our nighttime scene. And I thought it should be a nighttime scene because it's called Counting Sheep. And it looks like the sheep's got on a little bed cap there. Now I'm moving all my pieces parts out of the way because I'm going to do some spritzing with my Distress Oxide sprays. I think I use Harvest Moon. And I'm just going to shake it up, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on there. And I was kind of thinking that it would be like stars in the background. And so I'm just holding up a panel just to kind of keep it from splattering all over everything in my craft room. And it turned out pretty well. I'm going to bring in my heat tool and get it heated up and dried so that I can use it right away and then start assembling my card. So I'm just blotting here just in case there's any excess on there, and I'm going to dry it just a little bit more just to make sure I get it good and dry. And it's just enough to just go around that arch. And I had another piece that I had cut another arch out, and I thought it would help add some stability to that because it's actually kind of weak. And so I'm going to just add this. It was kind of, I think the paper was a little bit thinner, and then using the spray on there just kind of made it flimsy. So I thought I would just double it up and use this for my card base. So I'm just going to bring in all of my elements. You can see this is my night scene where I kind of have like a halo around the middle, and then we've got the darker around the rest. I'm going to bring in my card base. I think I've got a top folding card base there, and I'm just going to get this arch panel laid down on there, and we'll get it lined up. It's got a little bit of an edge there. I'm going to cut it off and come back, and then we'll get this laid down. And it'll fit nicely on there. I think we've got a nice little nighttime scene with a little light at the horizon line there. I'm just going to pop this up just to add a little bit more dimension to this card. And you can see I've got a moon and some stars there. The stars were included with the Counting Sheep, and then the moon I got from the Tunnels die set. I've got that Tunnels die set, and it has the moon and the sun and all kinds of clouds and stuff with it. And that's where I got it. I think, in fact, that's the clouds that I used for the previous card was from that particular set. And now we've got a little piece of fence here, and I've got a little flower that came with this particular Counting Sheep set, and I've got a little cloud there that I'm going to layer up over my moon once I get my moon laid down on there. And I spritzed that black panel because I was going to bring in this gold. I'm going to bring in the gold moon and the gold stars, and I thought spritzing the panel would just kind of help tie it all together. And I'm just going to let this cloud just float across the moon. We'll get it laid down on there. And then I've got several gold stars here that I have die cut out, and I'm just going to put some little dots of glue around there and just sprinkle some stars. And my sheep is still loose. It's not glued down. And I'm going to chase these stars around my desk until I get them facing in the direction that I want them. And we'll get them laid down on there. I think it's a cute little nighttime scene. Now I'm going to kind of put him, I don't know, more just a little right of center, I think. And I'll kind of crowd that edge, but we'll have room for a sentiment. I decided that his nightcap needed some stripes on it. So I just brought in my number 10 Jelly Roll pen and just started making some stripes on that nightcap. And I think that's a cute little addition. So we will get him glued down on here and start adding all of our little pieces. I hope you'll stick with me to the end so that you can see the end result with the cards. I know this is a longer video, but And I'm going to add my little tiny fence. And I was deciding, should I put it on the other side? But I really had planned on putting it on this side. And we'll get it laid down on there. Then I'm going to add my little flower. Just kind of cleaning up some glue with my reverse tweezers, and we'll put our little flower in there like it's growing there by the fence post. And just tuck it in under our little mounds of grass. And I think it's really cute. Now, I wait to the end to put the sentiments on all of them, so they're not completely finished, but I'm just building my scenes on each one of them. And now we've got our little cow background, which this is pretty simple because we've got our stenciled panel there, and then we've got our arch, and we're just going to get our cow and our little milk jug and stool laid down on there. I needed to trim that one off too. So I ran to my die cutting, or my guillotine, and cut that off, and now we'll get to working with it. So I grabbed some fun foam tape, and I had kind of a piece that was pretty close, and I thought I could lay it down, and I cut a bit off so I could kind of fill in that gap in the top up there, and I'll just get it laid down there, and this piece will work. It's just my scraps, and then that will give us some dimension here. I love the way that stenciled panel worked with that black soot. And we will get this laid down on there. I'm excited to have those perfect touch arches. That's a great set, and I'm glad to have that in my collection. And I will be happily using those a lot because those are really nice. They have a nice stitch detail, and I don't think I had any good arched dies in my stash. So I was real happy to get those, and I'm glad to be working with them. And this little cow is so cute. Now, in the picture, I think they showed the little flower hanging out of the cow's mouth, but I thought it'd be cute coming out of the hat. So I just decided to do that. And we'll get our little stool laid down here, and we're going to keep this one pretty simple. I made a little puddle for that handle because it was so thin, and just kind of drag it through there, and then I'll just clean up the glue. Just getting everything nice and clean. And I think it's super cute. So we've got all three of these cards, and we've got to get our sentiments ready. So I'm bringing in the stamp sets, and I'm going to decide which sentiment I'm going to use for each one. And we're going to get them stamped and embossed and cut, and then we'll get them laid down on our card. And I decided it made sense for at least two of them to have a black sentiment. And so I'm just using my anti-static powder tool and getting that black panel prepared. And then I'm going to bring in my Misty, and we'll stamp a couple of these sentiments down and get them ready to go. So, and I have sped this up because I kind of look at them a little bit. I'm like, which one do I want to use? And I'm just kind of looking at everything. So I did speed it up so that it wouldn't take so long. And we'll get those laid down on there. I'm going to use a clear embossing ink, and I'm going to use a white embossing powder, and we'll get these stamped up, embossed, and ready to go. And I grabbed a piece of copy paper. It's one of them where you change your ink and your machine wants to do a test on it. And I thought, I don't need that. I'm going to use it for this. And so I'm just going to get them ready to go and get them embossed, and we'll have our sentiments for our, I think we use these for the chicken and the counting sheep. And then I think I go white on the cow, the hay there set. So I got my mint green tape in, and now I'm using it. I've said on a couple times that I needed to get some. Well, I got it, and I'm ready to go, and I can do my die cutting without worrying about ripping my paper. So now I'm going to decide what I want to do with the hay there, and I'm going to choose one of those sentiments, and I'm going to use a white, and I'm just going to stamp directly with a acrylic block. And I'll use my VersaFine Clair Onyx ink, which is good and juicy, and it stamps very nice without using a Misty. So I'll just do that, and we'll get this sentiment. And there we go. So now I'm just going to cut this down with my Tim Holtz scissors, just try to get a good straight cut on it. And then we'll have all of our sentiments ready to go, and we can get these cards wrapped up. And this particular sentiment that I chose for the cow card, or the Hey There card, is Party Till the Cows Come Home. And I think that's fun because it could definitely be like a birthday party card or whatever. And then for the counting sheep, I chose Let's Celebrate You, EWE. And I thought that could be a birthday card. And then for the chicken card, the spring chicken, I chose Hello, Just Chicken In. And I thought that would be cute for somebody that you know, maybe is sick or you haven't seen in a while or something like that. You could use it. And I like how this black looks on the blue and the red. And I'm going to let it hang over, and I'm going to take some scraps and build up the edge that's going to hang over the arch, and that way it'll make it lay flat and it'll turn out just nice. And I'll do like 3 layers of scraps, but I kind of cut that out just because you don't need to sit there and watch me layer up all these scraps. And the video was getting long. So I tried to edit things out as I could along the way just to make it a little bit more manageable from a time standpoint. So get this laid down on there. Hello, Just Chicken In. Super cute. And then we're going to get on to our Party Till the Cows Come Home. And I will decide to cut this one apart and stagger it so that I can fit it on my arch. And I think it turns out super cute. And I'm just gluing it directly down on there. I did pop up that arch, so we've got a little bit of dimension there. And I'm just going to lay these down. I needed to trim that down. And we'll just get them laid down on there. And then Let's Celebrate You. And this one, I couldn't get the powder off, and it was bugging me, so I just sprayed it with water, and I got it good and wet. Then I had to dry it down. And I'm going to actually banner this one up. I'll just fishtail each end of it. And I'm not that great at fishtailing, but we'll get it done. Might take a couple cuttings to get there, but... And I cut this one, and I thought, oh, I did better on this one than I did the other one, so I'll go back and cut the other one again, I think. Yeah, I'm going to trim it up. And these are just really fun. I don't know if you caught the Ham It Up yesterday with the pig and what else was it? It was the pig and the geese, honk honk. And those were super cute, and these are fun as well. I really enjoyed working with them. I think they're super fun. It's a great collection of dies from Spellbinders. And I'm just going to get my mess cleaned up, and we're going to look at our cards. So we've got Spring Chicken, we've got Hey There, and we've got Counting Sheep. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.